UFC Fight Night Allen vs Costa takes place tomorrow night. So right now, I will be giving my predictions on each and every fight on the card. So without further ado, let's go to the first fight of the night, which is Shauna Bannon versus Nicole Cagliari. I'm gonna go with the favorite here, Cagliari. I don't think Bannon is that great of a fighter. I think she's really just in here for that Ireland hype, trying to capture some of that old McGregor fan base, but whatever. Moving on, Daniel Barres versus Luis Gurul. Gurul is the favorite, however, he is 0-3 in the UFC, and Barres does have a win on his record in the UFC. I'm not too familiar with the both of them, although I have seen a Barres fight, and I was not too impressed, but I'm still going to pick him just based off the fact that I know that he has the capability to win in the UFC, unlike Gurul. So I'm going to go with Perez, a little underdog pick there. Moving on to Elise Ardeline versus Polyana Viana. Polyana Viana is only in the UFC because she's famous for looking hot and hanging out with Alex Pereira. That's really it. Alice Ardeline isn't very good either, but I believe Ardeline will probably get this one done, most likely by submission. Moving on, Cody Brundage versus Andre Petroski, and this is the part of the card where the fights actually start to have impact and mean a little to the grand scheme of things. Cody Brundage is awful, though. Cody Brundage is one of the worst fighters in UFC history. That's not even that much of an exaggeration. This guy fought on the main card of UFC 300 for absolutely no reason. He sucks. He's negative in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. And Andre Petroski, although he's a little bit of a meme, although he did knock himself out shooting a takedown, he's proven that he can beat high-level competition. I mean, he beat GM3. So he's going to get this one done. I think he's going to submit Cody Brundage. I don't believe Cody Brundage is a good fighter at all. And, yeah, it shows because Petroski's a pretty big favorite. Moving on, Ketlin Vieira versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. Very disrespectful to put the number 5 bantamweight in the world on the early prelims, I believe, of a fight night. But I'm going to go with Vieira. She's the underdog. She has proven that she can go with the best people in the world. I mean, she went to a decision with Kayla Harrison, which no one else in the UFC has done. Cavalcanti hasn't really shown me anything that impressive. I mean, she beat Bueno Silva, but Vieira just has the better wins. And I think she's probably going to win this one by decision. I just don't see a world where Cavalcanti shows out in a way that sways the judges that much. Moving on to Tommy Gant versus Artem Minev. Artem Minev is filling in on short notice. Tommy Gant is probably going to win this one by a submission. Tommy Gant is a pretty big prospect. He's really good from the front head position. He's got some pretty nice hands, too. I think he's probably going to stuff a takedown from Artem Minev and jump either a Darce choke or a guillotine and get that one done. Or I could definitely see him just pounding him out for a TKO and, posturing up from half guard. Something like that. Something just an impressive performance to start Tommy Gant's career off pretty nicely in the UFC. Moving on, Tuco Tokos versus Ivan Ursulan. Tuco Tokos is going to masterclass this, dude. Tuco Tokos is a top 5 light heavyweight in the world. He's going to submit Ivan Ursulan with an arm triangle in the same way he did it to, what was it? It was one of the Tafa brothers. I think it was Junior Tafa. But he's going to arm triangle Ivan Ursulan, and then he's going to start the title run. Moving on to Chaos Williams versus Nikolai Varetnikov. Varetnikov is not that good. We saw him lose to Austin Vanderford. He has recently picked up a couple wins, but Chaos Williams has kind of shown some recent, decline in his game, so I wouldn't be surprised if Varetnikov pulls this one off, but I do think Chaos Williams still has that, that power that can definitely stun Varetnikov and probably get this one done by KO. I would not be surprised if Varetnikov gets this one by decision. Something like that. I would not bet on either one of these guys because it's kind of like a 50-50 fight. Moving on, Bernardo Sopaj versus Timmy Kwamba. Now this one's finally heating up. This is like a hard fight to pick. I'm just joking. Bernardo Sopaj by domination. He's gonna style on him. It's gonna be shades of Ochoa versus Carpenter. It's gonna be something of that nature, and he's probably gonna get this one done by finish. If I had to guess, I'm gonna say he's gonna put him up against the fence, TKO him. Moving on, this is the fight that I want to talk about the most. Christian Edwards is filling in on short notice against Modestas Bukauskas. Bukauskas is going to win, don't get it twisted. But I just need to talk about Christian Edwards because I know Christian Edwards. I remember hearing about this guy in, I think, 2020, 2021. He was the training partner of John Jones, and I believe it was for the Anthony Smith or the fight before that. Was it Thiago Santos? Something like that. He was the main training partner with John Jones, and he was really hyped up. And he was so hyped up, in fact, that he was given like a Bellator contract, and he was like undefeated or whatever. But here's why I know Christian Edwards. Because Christian Edwards was undefeated. He gets this guy who is coming off of breaking his leg on the regional scene. Like, he completely shatters his leg like Weidman Silva, all right, or McGregor. Just completely shatters his leg. He's out for 2 years. He comes back. Edwards is like minus 1,000 against this guy, and he gets knocked out in one round by him. The guy's name, oh my God, what was the guy's name? He had the funniest nickname ever. It was Big Tuna. Big Tuna knocked out Christian Edwards in one round, and ever since then, I've looked at Edwards' record. He just loses to everybody by knockout. Bukauskas, despite not being able to get into the top 15 of the division, he's shown that he can beat up on these cans all day long. He's probably going to be a gatekeeper for this division for a long time. I think he's going to get this one done by KO. Yeah, that's why he's such a big favorite. But yeah, Bukauskas by round 1 KO. Bukauskas by round 1 KO. Moving on to the first real fight of the night. It's going to be Malcolm Wellmaker versus Juan Diaz. Diaz is making his debut. He's a bit of one of these Latin American blockheads that just walks forwards and bombs and takes damage really well. He reminds me a little of Diego Lopez in that sense. I could definitely see him pulling off the upset, but I'm not going to pick that at all. I think Wellmaker's going to come back with a little bit of fire in his heart after that last performance. I mean, he got upset really, really badly by Ethan Ewing. Of course, with context, it doesn't look like that's too bad of a loss. Ethan Ewing looks to be a really impressive fighter for the future of the bantamweight division. But that being said, Malcolm Wellmaker is probably going to get this one done by decision. I don't think he knocks out Juan Diaz. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if he does, because Wellmaker does seem to have that touch of death in this bantamweight division. Although Juan Diaz does have the ability to throw some trick shot, fancy spinning stuff out there. I mean, in his Contender Series bout, he knocked someone out with a spinning elbow or back fist. It was something like that. So I don't be surprised if Diaz does some crazy shit and knocks out Wellmaker. Moving on to Doo Ho Choi versus Daniel Santos. I'm going to pick Daniel Santos. Unfortunately for Doo Ho Choi, although he's a fan favorite, although this guy's a legend, he is pretty old. He's shown that he's able to get chinned pretty easily. I mean, he's lost to a lot of guys by knockout. And Daniel Santos, although he's a little bit of a pull-out merchant, this guy is like a robot from Shoot the Box. If you sent a baby and raised them at Shoot the Box, they'd come out just like Daniel Santos. They're just really hard-hitting. They don't respect anything. They're constantly moving forward. They don't move their head. They're good on the ground, and they got big power. So I think he's probably going to knock out Doo Ho Choi. I think he's going to walk him down and hit him with like a straight right and fall him to the ground and TKO him. I could see him following down for a submission, but I feel pretty bad because Choi's a very likable fighter, very impressive guy. I just don't think he's going to pull this one off. But yeah, Santos by KO. Moving on to the main event of the night in a fight that I can actually talk about in depth. Arnold Allen versus Melquizael Costa. This fight is going to be really fun. I believe that this fight is going to go to decision. I don't see Melquizael Costa landing these big flashy kicks against Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen is one of the most composed technical fighters in all of the UFC. I mean, he had a clean fight against Max Holloway, took 2 rounds off of him. He had a really competitive fight with Movsar Evloev, arguably won that fight. He again had a really competitive fight against Jean Silva, arguably won that fight, although I do think that one's a little less debatable than the Movsar one. And I just don't think Melquizael Costa has the ability to land these big KO shots. Disregarding the striking, though, moving on to the grappling, Melquizael Costa obviously has the advantage in the submission department. However, I would not be surprised to see Arnold Allen out-wrestle Melquizael Costa because we saw in that Movsar Evloev fight that he has the ability to anti-grapple and establish his own control really, really well. So, I don't know. That one's kind of iffy. If I was Costa, I would really try to avoid the ground and kind of keep Allen on the back foot with those kicks, but I wouldn't overextend myself too much. Obviously, this is all just trivial couch quarterback stuff right now, but Melquizael Costa could come in here with a game plan of heavy grappling, and I think it would backfire on him. I think that is probably Allen's easiest path to win this is if Costa goes out there grappling. But touching on Allen for a second, Allen has some of the slickest hands in the UFC. We've seen this guy just completely melt people before. He's got good knees. He's got a good clinch game. I think he can definitely outmuscle Costa. We've seen Costa get chinned in the past. Of course, it was against Steve Garcia, which is a little bit different in the power department than Arnold Allen. So I'm not too positive on the KO from Allen, but I wouldn't be surprised about it. I'm probably going to pick Arnold Allen by KO, to be honest, because I think Costa will fade in those later rounds. I think Allen will weather the early storm. I think Costa's going to come out really, really strong in the first round. Everyone's going to be like, whoa, what's going on? I think it's going to be sort of similar to that Dan Ige first round where Ige was doing good and then he started getting kicked up the middle with that front kick and it kind of wobbled him and it was like, oh, what's going on? This is bad. Ige's looking bad. But then Ige worked himself back into the round and it was like, all right, Costa clearly took that. Ige's in trouble. It doesn't look too good, but Ige can definitely come back in the second round. But then Costa, of course, landed that spinning back kick. I just don't think that's going to land against Allen. I think Allen is going to completely nullify the spinning attacks from Costa. I think he's going to take the back. I think he's going to force him up against the fence. Stuff like that. Just really get to the basics, not let anything crazy happen. And I'm going to have to go with Allen by KO. I think Costa definitely does not have the gas tank to go these 5 rounds with Arnold Allen. And after Allen wins this, or let's just pretend Allen wins this, who do we see him matching up against in the division? Because I would not be mad at a fight against Yair Rodriguez. I would not be mad at a fight against Kevin Vallejos. I wouldn't be mad at a fight against Lerone Murphy, although they are countrymen, so I don't know if they'd do that. Maybe a fight against the winner of Garcia versus Lopez would be entertaining. I don't want to see Allen fight down in the division anymore because although he's losing to the guys lower than him, the guys that keep rising above him are like freaks of nature. It's Movsar Evloev, who's probably the best featherweight wrestler in history, and John Silva, who looks to be an absolute monster and a world beater. But besides that, everyone else above him, I think Allen beats. Like Yair Rodriguez, I think Allen shuts him down and just beats him up. I think he beats Lerone Murphy. I think he beats someone like Aljamain Sterling, although that one would be a really impressive fight if Allen pulled that off. Maybe that's the fight that needs to happen if Allen wins this. But moving back to Costa for a second, if Costa does pull this off, which would be really impressive, I think the way Costa would pull this off is by finish. And again, that would be really impressive because no one's finished Arnold Allen before. So if Costa wins this, I would match him up. I would actually match him up against Yair, definitely. I think that would be the fight to make because Yair won't fucking fight anybody. It's just wasting away, rotting at like the number 4 and 5 spot of the featherweight division. I think Costa would finish him. I think he'd submit him easily, and I think that would be an easy way to get him out of the division. But yeah, kind of a quick video. Wanted to skate through this one. I'm a little bit late on this one. But thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.